morning. It's Ginny and Tim from Escanaba, Michigan at DS Tech, where we're going to talk about AI and whether there's too much of it out there or we're just going to talk about it because we were talking amongst ourselves and we thought you'd be interested in our conversation too. Yeah. So visit our website because we talk about that kind of stuff on our newsletter too, dstech.net.
Yeah. So I know most of our blogs are business orientated, where this is kind of more of a fun episode. It's taking some articles in the news, but it will also talk about how it could impact your business slightly and kind of get you thinking about the
every
AI
once in a while I'll throw in a
future.
A fun article.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
So this all spawned from basically, I think it was Amazon's. It was Audible was getting flooded with basically AI audiobooks. They had something to the effect of 40,000 AI audiobooks submitted in such a short period of time that basically it's just flooding it, and it's basically allowing those who maybe couldn't pay for a real voice actor to read their book to basically use AI to get it done cheaper. What they were saying in here is for indie writers wanting to crack into the book, audiobook market without paying a professional voiceover fee. One blogger cited that they could convert an ebook to an audio using AI in about 52 minutes. So in less than an hour, you created an entire audiobook. Now you can upload it and sell it along with your regular book that you created, and you're not actually having to hire.
Did you listen to any of them?
I haven't listened to any of them to see how decent it is, because that's my thought too. Is AI audiobooks, it's good. I don't know how, there's decent, with the AI, but you can still hear it, right? So it's it's not quite as good as humans. And then I feel over the long course of time listening to an audiobook, after maybe the first chapter or two, it might be okay, but after a while, I feel it's going to get almost more monotonous, where a human usually will add better inflections and more character or imperfections where they might, take an extra breath where they don't need to or something like that, right? So it's those imperfections are almost picked up on, and
I found
people can see that.
AI tools that will take ebooks and read them to you, yes, with AI, but I expect it because it's an AI tool, right?
Right.
And it's painful to listen to. I mean, it was useful because I just didn't have the time to read the book.
Yeah.
But
it's good for a car trip, right? Throw it on background noise and listen.
I'm I don't know, because it would pause, sometimes this big pause in the middle of a sentence, and you're
So it was trying to AI generate it while it was happening, or was it
right? It's literally reading the book to you. I mean, you could actually see it on the screen too, where it's highlighting where it's reading, and I'm I would have to back it up and what did you say?
Play that section again, yeah.
Or go read it.
So clearly it's not 100% there yet, right?
So that's interesting.
Yeah. So the idea is, they're trying to have it to where more people can kind of get in on this and do that. But again, the quality seems to be not quite there. Same thing if you're looking at PowerPoint.
I don't know if that's true about Audible though. I mean,
these might be where they actually used AI to do a full proof all the way through, where it sounds like yours was an add-on where you had a book.
It was
a third-party app you added, and it tried to live read it AI to you. So I could see that being not quite as flushed out as someone who did that right, fixed all the pauses, and then submitted their audiobook in one flush in an hour. But still,
I haven't listened to any of the Audible ones. I'd be interested.
And so
what did they do?
So they really haven't done a whole lot. Not everyone's giving the virtual voice glowing reviews. So that's the thing, is people are we're not really review bombing, but not giving it the greatest of reviews right now. They're still letting the books in there, but I think they're making it so you have to almost have an AI tag with it now. Before this happened earlier, not with the audiobooks, but with just regular self-help books. When the first ChatGPT first came out and people could use AI for things, they would create a book in about 10 minutes, basically using this formula and be give me 10 tips about gardening. And so that would be here's 10 tips, and there's your 10 chapters. So then you take the first tip and you go expand the first topic and whatever, and then it gives you a whole information about topic one, and there's your first chapter, and you just can basically use AI to do multiple little prompts and then stitch it together. And now you have a book that you've created in about 30 minutes. That's a self-help book, whether it's how to farm, a lot of helping things is what I noticed. And that was flooding everywhere. How-to books, how to do this, how to do that, and little, and so those are starting to become crazy. And then again, you're just so much of them that they're not really worth it as much anymore because everyone's doing them, right? So it's kind of a supply and demand, a market thing. I think will eventually fix it. And that's where I see that eventually the want for actual human-generated art or human content is already starting to happen, where I see it, because everyone that's dealing in the business world, if I have to see another PowerPoint with AI images, it's just like every single PowerPoint has AI generated images now, right? Even our blogs have AI generated images. Everywhere has AI generated images right now. And so the traditional artists are being displaced with this AI. They're having a hard time doing work, but the ones that are able to do it, there's almost that human want or desire to have real created art again, whether it be the images, whether it be an audiobook read by a real person, whether it be music that's AI generated or made by a real person, right? All that kind of stuff. There's going to be a want for the human element of it.
I feel like that would actually make the human ones worth more.
Exactly. And so what you're going to see is right now the market's so flooded, everything's so cheap because of AI is creating all this stuff, and that the people that are going to spend a little bit more money instead of using the AI tools to maybe pay a human to do the job, at least when it comes to marketing and art, they might have a little bit of an edge. But again, you got to do a cost benefit analysis and figure out whether it's useful. And it depends what the area you're in. If you're in an area that's heavily focused with art and culture and that sort of a thing, you're going to really want to take like, for example, if you're doing like tourism in your city, right, you're going to want to have like local artists showcasing it, local things like that. You're not going to want a bunch of AI generated stuff from your area. It's not going to bring the tourists in, right? So it kind of depends where you're at, how much of a demand for real person versus AI there is.
Well, we talked about before we hopped on too, is like software engineers, for example.
And that's the worry right now, right? Is the displacement of all the labor, whether it be all these writers, these software engineers, all these people that are using these. The way I look at it is, say like you have 1,000 programmers. Out of those 1,000 programmers, 50 are like your top tier programmers. They're doing all, the bulk of all of it. Those 50 programmers are probably going to be able to do the work of all the others using AI tools, because the busy work isn't going to be done anymore. So if you're just like an average or a sub-average programmer and your job is to kind of read through it and kind of debug it and look for errors and do kind of some of these lower level jobs, which still are important, but they need to be done, they're going to use AI to kind of automate that process off, and you are going to see a displacement of those programmers. So you're going to either have to use AI to do the job of the the elite programmers, or with anything it'll just be there'll be some sort of other job for them. Whenever there's been displacement, there used to be telephone operators that used to have to run switchboards. That job doesn't exist anymore, but we still are fine here. So it's
at the mill. I used to do the samples. I used to be the person that would cut samples.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't do that anymore. So that job is gone. Yeah.
So with anything, there will be like a little bit of a disruption, right? A displacement, but usually those people will find work somewhere else, or using the tools. There'll be new jobs created using this technology that may be useful for them as well. And I always use the old analogy of the tractor and the horses, right? When the tractors were first invented, it's like a lot of people still use ox and horses and whatever to plow their fields. And it was only after a certain amount of time where everyone's using tractors that finally the person who's reluctantly holding onto their horses finally kind of has to jump ship. And you're just seeing that with AI, but it's a lot quicker. Yeah, or you can just go full Amish too. Yeah, exactly.
But you wouldn't be in business anymore. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
So just something to think about. The AI tools are neat. They're really great for businesses, to automating very mundane tasks, for marketing, for all kinds of stuff, to do transcripts. It's super great for businesses. But at the same time, think about, you don't want to do everything AI, because it's going to get rid of some of that personal individuality that maybe your business does have.
I really believe it's worth more.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with all the AI that's flooding, it makes there's
really a want and a desire to have that real person who can do the same job.
Yeah.
And authenticity. Yep, exactly. So it's just something to kind of think about with that. And so like I said, this just spawned with the Audible, all these audiobooks, but it's happened before with the regular books. It happened with images, with artists trying to create all these royalty-free images, and it's an ever-evolving thing, and they're going to constantly be changing the rules a little bit as it goes. So something just to kind of keep an eye out for. So
yeah, it's interesting. I noticed on social media, I mentioned it before, that now I noticed on, I think it was on TikTok, when you're uploading a video, there's a tag on there that you have to check if it's AI.
If it's AI or uses AI. Yeah. And see, that's where I see like AI is really going to have, for the mundane task, the business world, the non-creative, like taking transcripts of meetings, sending them off, things like that are AI would be just perfectly fine doing that. It's the art that I see eventually the long-term demand to having human-generated art, human-generated books, human-generated poems, music, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. There's going to be that desire to want to go back to having all that be created by people as opposed to robots and AI. So it just kind of depends what you're using it for.
Yeah, it's going to flush itself out. Yep. It's going to find its role, just like the humans have to find our role, right?
Right. It's like make a joke to AI or to not AI. That's the question.
Yeah. That is the question. It's a deep one. Think about it.
Yep.
And then go visit our website, and if you have a business, sign up for your free security scan, free security assessment, or your free galactic scan, whatever, just fill in the form and we'll get in touch and we'll make an appointment and start conversations about what we can do to help you with your business.
Yeah. So.
See you later.